What's up, Party Jet Sports? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back, Jets fans, for another Jets-related video. I'm one of your hosts, Caleb Gill, and today we're going to do a Jets draft video, but not a Jets mock draft. I'll get a mock draft up sometime within the next month or so. I only want to do like one or two of those because I don't think a lot's going to change in terms of what I'm thinking mock draft-wise for the Jets, but I did want to get a Jets draft video up. So what's that mean we're going to talk about today? Well, that means that we're going to talk about the strategy that the Jets should have going into the 2025 NFL Draft and what I think they should do, would do, are going to do, that sort of thing. So just going to take a couple minutes here and kind of riff on what I think the Jets strategy is going to look like, some of the needs that they have going into this draft, and where they can address those needs. So let's start with that first pick. Number 7 overall, the Jets have, I think it comes down to three things for the Jets. You're either going to take best player available, if that be a Mason Graham, if another defensive player drops, if it's somebody that you're not really thinking is going to drop, that's not a position of need. And defensive tackle is kind of a position need. Like, the Jets need the help on the defensive front. This is a good draft, though, for defensive linemen. You could get a quality defensive lineman later day 2, maybe even early day 3. So they could probably wait to address that. But that's probably one of the three things that they can do with that first pick is if Mason Graham falls, you take him. I've already done 2 or 3 mock drafts now with Jets picks, and one of them I had the Jets taking Mason Graham. Another, I had them taking Tyler Warren, and that's kind of the second thing the Jets are going to do is take an offensive weapon. If it be a Tyler Warren, if it be a Ted McMillan out of Arizona, it's going to be some form of offensive weapon because they do have a dire need for an offensive weapon, and it's kind of irritating. Maybe the Jets swing a trade for like a Chris Olave, maybe they're able to add a Tyler Lockett, but you still, after Garrett Wilson, you do not feel good about that wide receiver room at this time. I know they signed Tyler Johnson, but like, are you really? Tyler Johnson is more like the Xavier Gibson, maybe Malachi Corley sub. Like, I'm still trying to get Allen Lazard off this team, brother. Like, come on, give me something. Give me something to get Allen Lazard off this damn team. And he's still there. He's still. Part of me does wonder with Lazard, though, if the Jets are waiting for Rodgers to sign with the team, if that's going to be the Steelers or maybe the Titans, I don't know. It's not going to be the Giants. They just signed Russell Wilson today. If they're waiting for Rodgers to sign, and then they're going to try trading Lazard to wherever Rodgers signs. So maybe the Jets flip Allen Lazard to the Steelers for like a 4th or 5th or like a fucking bag of nickels. Like, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't give up more than a t-shirt for him. Like, here you go. Here's one of those ugly ass Fanatics, you know, what t-shirts that they make. That's what you get for Allen Lazard. Or like a 2 for 4. 4 for 4. 2. What the hell is 2 for 4? A Wendy's 4 for 4 is probably way too much of a bag for Allen Lazard. But I can see the Jets trying to wait. Maybe that's why Allen Lazard is still on the team. Or they just realize that they don't have any other option. Like, Justin Fields is going to have to throw to somebody. And I know Dylan's going to, after this video, Dylan's going to be, if he watches this, I'm going to hear a lot of, why didn't the Steelers just keep Fields? Why was the Jets a much more attractive option than the Steelers? And I ultimately think, I'm going off course here, but I'm just trying to address the things that are going to be addressed to me. I'm trying to get out in front of it. So the Justin Fields thing real quick. I think he chose the Jets because the Jets wanted him. And I don't think he felt that the Steelers were all in on him. I think he lost faith in the Steelers when they benched him, didn't start him again when Russ was struggling. Like, I think, it takes 2 to tango. Maybe the Steelers were going to do everything they could. Maybe I saw a report. How accurate it is, I don't know. But I saw a report that the Steelers were offering pretty much the same thing that the Jets were offering. Like, even the initial report was the signing bonus or the guaranteed money or whatever it was less than what the Jets were offering. And then I saw one earlier last week, that the Steelers offer pretty much the same guarantees. Like, I do think it came down to the Jets just wanted him, and he didn't. I don't think he got that same vibe, that same feeling that the Steelers actually wanted him that way, and he was probably turned off because of what happened last year. Anyways, back to draft strategy. The Jets need weapons. If it be like I said, if it be a Tyler Warren or a McMillan, like if it's going to be I don't know who it's going to be, but they have to address weapon at some point in this draft. If it's with the 7th pick, if it's with 42, 73, later on, and like maybe early 8th, I don't know. I mean, I'd double dip if I can. If you draft a wide receiver early, this is a deep tight end class, maybe you grab a tight end later on. I don't know. But yeah, that's number 2. The third thing for the Jets that they're looking at with that 7th pick is tackle. And this is very similar feeling heading into last year's draft, right? Where last year I was all on the Brock Bowers train. You know, I was brocked up for Bowers. I wanted the Jets to draft Bowers. The smart thing was always to draft an offensive lineman if one was available. And luckily for us, Olu Fashanu was. And that's nothing against Brock Bowers. Like, Brock Bowers would have been a great pick, but then we'd be sitting here this year, and it's like, it was like the last gift that Joe Douglas left for us was having a franchise left tackle. But we still need a right tackle. That's the only thing that we really need on the offensive line, maybe some depth. Because I really don't want to shuffle this offensive line around. I know there's people that have thrown out there that they signed Josh Myers to be the starting center, then you just move everyone. You move Tippmann to right guard, and then AVT to right tackle. I would just rather leave Tippmann at center, AVT at guard, and then get a tackle. But the tackle options right now aren't that great unless you're banking on Amembu being there at 7. It is kind of irritating that the Jets yet again are in this spot where you have to decide either weapon, fun piece for the offense, or you have to add another piece of the offensive line. It's a perpetual thing, but it's something that needs to be addressed, and I'd rather address it now than Justin Fields get killed back there. And I think you could get away with a mediocre right tackle with Fields, I believe, because he is elusive enough, he is mobile enough to where he can evade some of the pass rush, especially if 4 out of the 5's good. I think if that 5th spot's serviceable, you feel okay, but you still are going to need a right tackle at some point. So if you can get your pillars on each side, if you can get your franchise left tackle and your franchise right tackle for the next 10 years, if you can get those 2 guys there, you do feel pretty good about the future of the offensive line. So those are really the 3 things that the Jets are looking at there with pick 7. And like I said, it's remnants of last year. It's Brock Bowers, offensive lineman. This year's Tyler Warren, offensive lineman. And Will Campbell has been thrown around. I don't know if he falls that far. Like every mock draft I've done with the Patriots, I have them taking Campbell. They drafted or they signed Stephon Diggs earlier today, so I don't know if McMillan is going to be the guy there for them at 4. I still think it's going to be offensive lineman. Maybe it's a Mason Graham. I don't know. But if it's one of those 2 guys, I would not be upset. Tyler Warren is my favorite player for the Jets at 7 because he provides flexibility. The Jets haven't had a stud tight end since Dustin Keller. Like, that was, 2010? It's been a long time. Like, it would be so much fun to have a good tight end. It's one thing that Justin Fields loves is the tight end. He liked them at Ohio State. You know, and when you have a quarterback that, you know, may be struggling a little bit, having a safety blanket there in the middle of the field that you can trust is a nice piece. And tight end has become such an important part of the offense. Tanner Engstrand, the new OC, is probably going to want to run a lot of 12 personnel and a lot of tight end in this offense coming from Detroit, what they did with Laporta. So I could definitely see Tyler Warren being a guy there that they're interested in. But would you rather... what's going to come down to is, how do you feel about each class? Do you feel good about the depth of the tight end class? And do you feel good about the depth of the offensive line class? And what's more likely to happen? That you find a day one starter at tight end on day 2, or day one starter at right tackle on day 2? And if the answer is the former, not the latter, then I think you have to go offensive line. I believe, again, every mock draft I've done for the Jets so far has had the Jets taking Tyler Warren here at 7. And that's preference. That's me. Like, I want that fun pick. But the smart thing, like it was last year, I do ultimately think the Jets, part of the strategy for this year is going to be how the board breaks. And we could be in a spot where Campbell and Membu are both gone. Or maybe Membu's gone, Warren's gone, and then it's like, what do the Jets do? It comes right there's probably best player available. You're probably, if that happens, if Warren and Membu are gone, I could see Ted McMillan being the pick if he's still there. Mason Graham if he's still there. Like, it all depends on how the board breaks. The Jets do have some options. Like, they don't have one specific need. They have a couple things that they need filled, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. It's a bad thing because it means that they're farther from being a playoff team than we like it to be, but it's a good thing for the draft because then you don't have to pigeonhole yourself, where if the tackle you like is gone, then you're scrambling. It's like, oh shit, what do we do? I think with that 7th pick, you're looking and it's like, okay, we like Warren, we like Membu, we like Ted McMillan, we like Mason Graham. If either of those 4 guys are there, we're taking them. If all 4 are gone, which the chances, while not likely, it's also not unlikely. Like, it's a better than 0% chance that happens. Then it's like you're probably looking to trade down. Like, that's where it gets dark hours. I don't think you're taking a Mike Green or an edge. But sticking with those 3 things that I said. 3 things for that first pick. Best player available, weapon, or offensive lineman. And then from there is how the rest of the draft. Like, you're going to get a good grip of how the Jets are going to attack this draft with that first pick. If they go offensive lineman, then it's like, all right, we have to address tight end and weapon day 2. Day 2, so either way, if they go a Membu or a Warren there with that first pick, day 2, you have to draft a safety or a defensive tackle at some point. You have to. You need another body there next to Quinnen Williams, and you need somebody in the back end next to Cisco. And with this defense that's going to be ran, they're going to want to run a lot of man, but they're also going to need some help on the back end. The Jets have holes on the defensive side. And a lot of people look at the Jets like, defense fine. Like, remember the Cowboys offensive line for years, where Cowboys offensive line just had a great name on it. So you thought that their offensive line was fine, when in reality it wasn't as good as it used to be, or was perceived as. That's kind of how the Jets defense is. Like, Jets are known for having a good defense, but you look around at who's there, it's like, all right, well, they have more holes than some people might realize. They need help up front because Joe Douglas gutted the defensive line. They need help. They've needed safety help forever, since Jamal Adams and Marcus May were here. Like, that was the last time they had good safeties. They need safety help. So I think day 2, you're looking at a defensive player being drafted either in that front 7 or in the back 4. So that's kind of the strategy there. If the Jets go offensive line day 1, I think day 2 is where you see the tight end taken. And it's a deep tight end class. I like Harold Fannin Jr. out of Bowling Green. You could draft a Mason Taylor out of LSU. There's guys that could be had there in the 3rd round. So if you don't draft one first round, I think tight end comes third round. So that second round pick, if the offensive lineman is drafted first, that second round pick is going to be defense, I believe. I think that's going to be where the defense is. If it's going to be safety or if it's going to be defensive tackle. Like, that's what I'm thinking right now. That's kind of the strategy I have in mind is offensive lineman, defense, tight end. Those are your first 3 picks. Now, if the Jets go tight end first, that does change things a little bit. I mean, they're already talking with potential day 2 tackles. The Ursi, I probably butchered his name, the tackle out of Minnesota. They talked to him. Maybe that's, the guy that they're targeting round 2 if they take Warren round 1. And then in the third round is where they go defense. At some point, defensive tackle and safety is going to have to be addressed. And if I could see them going safety first and thinking they could just get a body in day 3. Just a big, fat body to put next to Quinn and Williams to eat up those runs and eat up those blocks. Like, that's kind of what you need right now. Everything comes down to that first pick. So the first 3 rounds are all predicated on that. Day 3 is going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. I think we're going to see combinations of different, maybe a wide receiver, offensive line depth. I'd love to see. And the thing right now that's difficult is we don't know how the Jets are going to run this draft. We don't, because we've never seen them implement a draft strategy before. This is their first draft, so it's going to be interesting to see how they approach things, how they approach trades, either trade down, trade up, how they maneuver around the board. That's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be stressful too. But day 3, you could throw so many darts. They have 8 total picks. 5 of them are on day 3. So, I mean, take your darts, man. Take your dart throws with the offensive line, with the weapon. Like, I would definitely take a wide receiver somewhere that range. The other thing I think the Jets are going to do, there's not a lot of leaks that have been coming out of one Jets drive as of late, so it's hard to say what the draft strategy is going to be, but it does feel like the Jets are going to take a quarterback in this year's draft. They did draft or sign Justin Fields, so I don't think that's going to be rounds 1 and 2. 3 might be the first time, or might be the first point in this draft where they consider taking a quarterback. I just don't think they're going to. So you're looking at like round 4 being that quarterback window for the Jets. If that's Jalen Milroe's a guy that's been thrown around a lot. And I think it's because he's got athleticism that you like. He's got similar build and he plays style because of his mobility, similar to Justin Fields and Tyrod Taylor. So that seems to be a favorite for the Jets if they are going to draft a quarterback day 3. I don't like that. I said this to Dylan earlier, actually, because we were talking about this in the group chat. I'm not a fan of Jalen Milroe. I don't want the Jets to draft Jalen Milroe, but I wouldn't be surprised. What I would rather them do is draft like a Kyle McCord, who actually, fun fact, the reason he wears number 6 is because of the Sanchez himself. Go look that up. He wears number 6 because of the Sanchez, and we don't get a lot of respect around here. The Sanchez doesn't get the respect that he damn well deserves. Anywho, I wouldn't mind seeing Kyle McCord. I think he's got the tools to develop into at least a spot starter. Will Howard would be interesting. He definitely made himself some money in that championship run. So that's kind of what I think the Jets are going to target. It's going to be one of those 3 quarterbacks I think the Jets ultimately walk away with. It's going to be one of Milroe, McCord, or Will Howard there. Probably 4th round will be my guess. And then the rest of it, like I said, you're just throwing your darts at wide receiver, offensive line help. Maybe you draft a linebacker. Maybe you're looking for Quincy Williams' replacement down the road, defensive back. Like, with 8 picks, you can definitely take your throws. You're going to need some special team help. Like, there's things that the Jets can address a couple needs with this year's draft. It all comes down to, again, though, what they do with that 7th overall pick. So that's going to be the tall tale sign for how this draft goes. And I'm interested to see how they approach it. Again, I like Tyler Warren, but Membu's probably the correct pick. For an offensive lineman, is probably the right pick there at 7, which then is going to have a domino effect for what the Jets do later on. So that's it. That's all I wanted to really talk about today, was a little draft strategy for the Jets and what I would do, what they think, or what I think they're going to do, and just kind of talk about some needs. Again, I'll get a draft or mock draft for the Jets here in the next couple of weeks. I know Drew and Dylan are going to talk about some running backs later this week, some draft eligible running backs, and kind of how they view this RB class, something that they've been talking about a lot in the group chat, so I'm excited for that. That's going to drop hopefully by Friday, Saturday, later on this week. Expect that to be part of your weekend watch here at Party Chat Sports, and stay tuned to everything going on here at the channel, on our Twitter page at Party Chat Sports. We post everything on YouTube. Follow us wherever you get your podcasts, and also on TikTok, all at Party Chat Sports. I'm looking forward. We are a little over a month away from the NFL draft. Hopefully we got more content. Hopefully you continue to enjoy the content, and refer us to your friends, refer us to your family, tell anybody that you know that loves football as much as we do specifically to check us out at Party Chat Sports. Until next time, JTS.